Hey guys, what is going on? It's your boy Fallen here for Sputnik Entertainment. By the way, if I'm always wearing a black shirt, don't worry, this is not my only black shirt. I have a bunch of them. It's just one of my favorite colors and I like to wear these shirts. But that's not the point of today's video. Today's video, I want to give you a bit of a story time of my recent horrible camera buying experience from a company that should be unnamed for now, and I'll definitely be providing an update on the story in the future. But to give you a bit of a background on it, back in the fall, as you guys know, we shot a lot of content in the Jacob Javits Convention Center in New York City. And one of the shows we were working with, we were interviewing some of the show executives. And there were some high-profile individuals, and I wanted to do the best possible interview, and I had to get some additional gear. By that point in time, the camera stores in New York City were already closed for the night, and I remember seeing an advertisement on Instagram for a camera store a few weeks back, and I screenshotted it. And I went back to my screenshots and I went to their website and I decided to check them out. Now, the advertising was a little bit sleazy, to say the least. Now, when you go to their website, it's plastered with ads for financing companies. They're advertising how you don't need to have any cash. You can finance your gear. It's easy. It's possible up to like $4,500. They had a variety of gear, but their website was half broken, and their explanation for that was that they're going through the process of redesigning, even though they've been in business for quite some time. And I get it. We redesigned Sputnik ENT a few times, and actually Sputnik ENT, the new version of Sputnik ENT, will be coming back online hopefully next week at some point, so stay tuned for that. But I reached out to the store. There was some great staff that were willing to work with me, but I said, hey, I need this gear to be overnighted. Is that possible? And they said, this is the cutoff time. Please tell us what you want. We'll place an order with you on the phone. And I had to get about 3 pieces of gear. I had to get a shotgun microphone, a lavalier setup, and I had to get a battery grip. And what else? I think I got a couple more, a couple SD cards as well. And the total was about $1,000. And on top of it all, to get it overnighted from California, where the store was located, to New York, for it to get by like 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock next morning via UPS, it would be about $200. And I was like, you know what? I have to bite the bullet on it. Everything else in the city is closed. Best Buy is closed, Adorama is closed, B&H is closed, which are 3 biggest camera retailers in New York City at least. I have no other options because the shoot was scheduled for next day. I already committed to it, that we're doing it. The executives were coming to it, so there was no way of escaping it. Of course, I could have done the shoot with the gear I had, but I always try to do the best possible job I can when it comes to situations like that. So, long story short, I wake up the next morning, I get the gear, like I said, about $1,200 in at that point in time. I take the gear out, everything looks good from packaging, etc. It looks brand new. It looks like it's packaged. Well, things start going wrong when I start opening it. The shotgun microphone did not work whatsoever. Now, based on it being brand new, I was like, hey, maybe sometimes manufacturing goes awry and things break. Things happen. The lavalier microphone setup had a European charging adapter, which I've never seen being sold with gear. It's a good setup. It was a very expensive setup, but it had a European charger. Everything else looked like it was US based, but the charger looked European. Now, that gives me an indication that this company, this store, deals with gray market gear. Now, the problem with gray market gear is that the US support and US warranty oftentimes is non-existent. So when you spend a large amount of money on this gear and something happens wrong with it, and they see that you have a US-based address, they're less likely, or if they might fully deny your claim for any sort of warranty unless you can provide an address in the region that they service overseas. Now, you might say, hey, Fallen, maybe you were wrong. Maybe you had an adapter. Trust me, I've tried all of that. It just had European round plugs on it. Now, the way I know it's European, because I grew up in Russia, and I've traveled all over the world on different productions. I'm very familiar with overseas and European outlets and variety of others. And then the third piece of gear worked how it's supposed to be. So I was very frustrated because even though I spent $200 overnighting the gear, I moved the shoot a day over just because I wanted to have this gear, and this gear did not work. So for the most part, besides the battery grip, I could not use it on the shoot because the shotgun microphone didn't work and I could not charge the lavalier setup. So I had to use 99 or 66% of the gear I already had, if we're being mathematically correct. Now, shortly afterwards, I wound up getting sick with COVID, and if you guys want to hear about that, check out my vlogging channel. I'm going to be filming a video today about talking about my battle with COVID, how I overcame it, symptoms, etc., as a kind of bit of a PSA video. So I was bedridden for about 2 weeks, and it was not fun to say the least. But through my battle with COVID, I tried to reach out to that camera store a few times to try to speak with them. I'm like, hey guys, I bought this gear with you guys. This is the total. This is how much I spent on shipping. Kind of not cool about what you guys did. And at that point in time, I spoke with a few different staff members. They're like, we need to speak with the owner. We need to speak with the owner. And eventually they got back to me. And when I spoke with one of the staff members, he had a pretty decent and proper solution to handle the situation. He said like, hey, we'll send out your new gear, the ones that for the gear that is not working, and then we'll provide your shipping label, and then you just send the gear that doesn't work and is not compatible in the United States back to us, and we'll handle it from there. And I was like, that's a great solution. He's like, I just need to get it approved by the owner. So I'll call you back in a few hours. Well, he has my number, calls me back, and from the moment that he called me back, I knew things were not gonna go to plan. And he pretty much said that, hey, we did not sell you this broken gear. We do not sell non-US compatible equipment or gray market gear, and pretty much accused me of lying. Now, that's apparently based on the owner's word. Of course, I got a little bit frustrated. Even though I was battling with COVID, I did not have too much energy to be angry. And I tried to explain to him, like, hey, no, I have the receipt. This is what I bought. I spent this amount of money. I had it overnighted, and I trusted you guys to sell me this gear. And you guys truly let me down. And I'm like, what happened to the promise you made to me about you guys sending me new equipment and then me sending the broken ones? And then because you guys are being an authorized retailer, you guys could reach out to your manufacturing partners and store partners and company partners and get that gear replaced. It's not my job. Well, they wanted me to do that myself. They wanted me to contact the shotgun microphone company, and they wanted me to deal with the lavalier microphone company as well, and they said they do not sell gray market equipment with EU chargers. And I felt like I was being gaslit in the situation because I was literally staring at the charger, which I wish I had with me on camera, on the table as I was speaking with them. Like, I can literally send you a picture of it right now if you would like. I tried to speak with the owner. The owner apparently had COVID at that point in time. I'm not sure if he truly had COVID or he just did not want to speak with me, but long story short, he wound up not speaking on me. And I did say, like, I was a very heated conversation in the very end. I pretty much indicated that proper action will be taken because I'm not about to be swindled for about $1,000. Now, if this was gear that was worth $10, $20, $30, maybe even $100, I might have said, ugh, this stinks. I learned from it. I will not shop with this company. But when you spend $1,000 in gear and $200 in overnight shipping, and you explain to them that, hey, I have a shoot and I really need this gear, you would hope that they would provide you the right gear at that time. In a way, you're putting all your faith, all the reliability onto the company. And long story short, they said, why didn't you reach out to us earlier? Well, we have a 1-week swap policy. Now, this is one of the shortest policies I've ever seen in my life compared to stores like B&H and Adorama that I usually use for 99% of our camera gear nowadays. Now, this video is not sponsored by them, but they're amazing companies. I've had a chance to speak with many of their staff members over the years, actually hoping to work maybe with them this year. So at our MRBNH, open to your emails. And most of them have either a 30-day, 60-day, or 90-day return window, depending time of year, type of gear, etc. Especially during the holiday times, they have a very extended return window. I think it goes until end of January, even for B&H, from if memory serves me right. So I wound up, like I said, and so that conversation went nowhere. And at that point in time, I spoke with a couple of friends, and pretty much you have to file a report if you want some sort of legal action, take it to if you want to take the company into small claims court. So I tried to reach out to the local police department in California, told them what happened, told them it's a local retailer in California, what should I do? Well, they indicated to me that I need to reach out to my New York City precinct, where I'm based, and file it with them. The local police in New York City would forward it over to the police department in California, and then the investigation would take place, even if it would be feasible to do that, because it's a retailer versus customer dispute. So sometimes you cannot even file a police report. So I reached out to New York City Police Department. They said that, hey, it's a 50-50. I explained to them I've been battling COVID and I'm still recovering from COVID at that point in time. When I recover from it, I'll come in, file a report. Where am I going with the story? Here are some of my tips and advice when dealing with buying gear. I recommend buying gear from reputable companies. I mentioned two of the bigger ones like B&H, Adorama. If you're concentrating buying audio equipment, there's Guitar Center, Musician's Friend, Sweetwater, some of the other big retailers when it comes to it. Now, I would have not made this mistake if I was not under gun. Like I said, 99% of the camera, video, audio equipment that we use nowadays comes from either Adorama or B&H or one of the audio companies I just mentioned. Like I said, the biggest issue with the lavalier setup is that the voltage that goes into the charging it is not really compatible with the US outlets, so it does not hold the charge properly. And it's an expensive piece of lavalier setup that is borderline impossible to use now, or very difficult to use unless I figure out some sort of solution. So if you guys have any ideas, please let me know in the comment section, or you guys can reach out to me on socials. So going back to my advice, buy camera gear from reputable sources, because if something goes wrong, even with really good equipment, sometimes you have to go through a retailer first, or it might be easier to go through the retailer first to see if it's possible to get it resolved. Large reputable companies usually have very good return or swap policies when it comes to gear, versus companies that are mom and pop, sort of local small business based and have 30 million ads on their sites for financing companies, might not have the greatest policies. And of course, there is no federal laws that indicate what sort of policies should come to return windows, etc., because it's in the discretion of that business owners. I've been to companies and stores, and I'm sure many of you guys have been as well. No returns allowed, no swaps allowed, nothing. You buy something, you walk out, final deal. I prefer not to deal with companies like that, especially if I'm buying something that is of significant amount of value. Which, like I said, if this was something really cheap, I would have just kind of kicked myself a little bit and would have lived with it. Number two, you might want to shop with your local companies within your region, so you can potentially go to that store and deal with the management, deal with the store owner, etc. This company is based across the country, so I'm not even sure if it came down me taking them to small claims court, how would that work? Would jurisdiction be based in California? Would jurisdiction be based in California or New York, and how it would impact the situation? Would I need to be present? Would I need to hire legal counsel? I don't even know how I'm going to take it. I mean, of course, I don't want them to get away with it with no consequences, because they're like, hey, we sold you this gear, go away, kid, and that's about it. My third advice is, once again, is use companies or buy from companies that have very good reputation gear wise. All the gear that I bought had really good reputation. One of them was Rode, another one was Holy Land. Very expensive, like I said, gear that I bought from very established companies. So that's why I felt comfortable spending a large amount of money on their gear, because Rode is an Australian-based company and usually has great customer support. So when I said that, hey, if you guys get my broken piece of gear and reach out to Rode, I'm sure they'll have no problem swapping it out. Yes, I could not be petty and deal with Rode myself, but it would be a lot more hoops to jump through, because they would ask me why I was not dealing with a retailer, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, so this is my horrible camera experience for the first time probably in my life, because like I said, I'm mostly concentrating on buying from good retailers. I've been around the block a few times. I try to avoid buying from sketchy online retailers on eBay or Amazon or other online marketplaces, because sometimes, once again, it's harder to get some sort of a resolution if something goes awry. And I prefer to wander in the brand new gear versus used gear, because I know that it has manufacturer's warranty, it has protections, versus buying used gear. You don't know what it went through 100% of the time. Anyways, guys, I would love to hear your horror stories when it comes down to buying gear, either photo, video, audio, anything in general, or any sort of large purchases that you had wound up having horrible experiences with. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, please consider clicking that like and subscribe button. It helps us grow. Tons of new content coming out this year, tons of new series. We're focusing on shorts. We're focusing on releasing borderline daily content this year, if not multiple videos a day. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.